What up? What up? What up, Finn fans? Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I am your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everybody doing this morning? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Quick note, if you're over on the Game Changers channel, the Finn Posse Podcast from now on will only be able to be seen on this channel. So if you could click over to this channel, show your love over here, I greatly appreciate it. Me and my cousin will be back to the Game Changers channel. I'd probably say at the beginning of next week. So keep an eye out for us probably next Monday night, and me and Mike will be back at it. But if you're over on the Game Changers, please come over to the Finn Posse Podcast, because that's where you can see your Dolphins news each and every weekday. But how is everybody doing? Who's all up in the building this morning? Joint practices begin today with the Chicago Bears. The Bears. JD, what up? Travis, what up? Bonnie, what's up? What's up? What's up? Jose, good morning. Finspin, what's up? What's up? Yesterday, Madden came out. I don't know how many of y'all partake in the Madden series. I've been a Madden fan forever. Maybe it's childish that I still play video games, but I still rock Madden. Madden 26 is phenomenal so far. I've only played it for a little bit, but so far, absolutely phenomenal. It gives you a more immersed feeling, more in the game. They make Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night football games feel extra special. The mechanics of the quarterbacks are all completely different, which are huge. But JD, you should check it out, because like when Tua's throwing the ball, it looks like Tua throwing the ball. Like his mechanics, like that foul through that Tua does, like it looks like Tua throwing the ball. When Pat Mahomes throws the ball, it looks like Pat Mahomes throwing the ball. So far, the gameplay is fantastic. I might start a new series where we do like a simulation of the Dolphins play the Colts week 1. Maybe I'll do a simulation week 1 and see how that turns out, and broadcast that to the channel. But so far, Madden is official. You should definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. Yeah, I mean, it's getting expensive. I mean, I paid $100, and that was for access 7 days early. But this year's model, usually it's just an update of rosters. This year's model is different, though. It is different. Just the mechanics of the game are way better this year. Check it out. Definitely check it out. Glenn, what's up, brother? What's up? So the Miami Dolphins released their depth chart, right? And surprise, surprise, surprise. Usually the Dolphins run a hybrid defense, right? They run a hybrid defense. So yeah, they're going to show you a multitude of looks. But the big shocker here is usually when they drop their depth chart, usually it's a 3-4, because that's our base defense, right? This year's depth chart, a little bit of a different look. And I can't say it's surprising. I mean, it's surprising that they're showing it, but I can't say that it's super surprising to me, because we all figured that the Miami Dolphins were going to have to get certain players on the field at the same time, right? Our strength on this defense, I think most agree, would be the wide receiver position in our front seven. I think this front seven has a chance to absolutely be dynamic, dominant. And let's take a look at this first depth chart. Specifically the defense. So right here, right on first 4 things. Defensive end, Chop Robinson. Defensive tackle, Zach Sealer. Defensive tackle, Benito Jones. Defensive end, Bradley Chubb. And then at your linebackers, you got Terrell Dodson, Jordan Brooks, and Jalen Phillips. right? Folks, they are going to do everything in their power. And are we still going to see some 3-4? Absolutely. Absolutely. But this right here, the fact that they're releasing a depth chart with 4 defensive linemen just shows you that Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and Chop Robinson are going to be on the field at the same time. At the damn same time. Michael K, 6 wins, you're delusional. So bet it. Just bet it. That's all you got to do is bet it. That's all you got to do, Michael K. Put the money where your mouth is. Put your money down. Stacks on deck. Let's go. 6 wins. Come on. Dominant front 7. The front, listen, and it's a little, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little nervous that the Dolphins defense has dominated the offense so far in training camp the way that they have. I mean, they've gone back and forth. But listen, the fact that they have been getting the best of this Dolphins offense, who, for the most part, besides the offensive line, Tua's had the same skill players here. The fact that our cornerback room is such a hot mess right now that the offense should be tearing it up. And the fact that the defense is winning consistently gets me a tad bit worried. It gets me a tad bit worried. You might listen, Michael K. You say you bet other people $300, this, that, and the third. Listen, I can't prove that. Bet right here. Bet right here for the world to see. And I'm good for money because I already sent you money for a magic box. I'm good for my money. Glenn said, I would not say that because they lifted 12 positions. Glenn, they would have still not left. They would have still listed their starting defensive tackles and DNs. You know what I mean? I don't think they would have put a 4. They wouldn't have showed it up as a 4-3. Magic box. It's one of those. It's one of those boxes where you get the pay-per-views and stuff for free, Joe. That is casual for a super box. Maybe it is. What up, Shake? Yo, where's Cap at? I haven't seen Cap in the chat in a while. Is he all right? He just ain't messing with me no more. And that's cool if he's not. I just want to make sure he's good. He's all right. I just want to make sure he's all right. But let's take some more looks at this. So Terrell, they got T. Dotson as one of the starting linebackers. There's no way that Willie Gay doesn't overtake him. I think we can all agree that Willie Gay Jr. is going to overtake Terrell Dotson as one of the starting inside linebackers. You got Storm Duck and Sheffield as your starting corners. Not really a surprise. These two have been the starting corners since OTAs have began. Sherfield and Storm Duck have been the starting corners. Do I think the Miami Dolphins still end up making a move and bringing someone else in? I do. But right now you got Storm Duck and Sherfield with Jack Jones as your main backup. How do I feel about that? Not as good as I'd like to feel. I think the Miami Dolphins should try to add a starting caliber cornerback somehow. And Chris Greer is usually, Chris Greer is known to make a late off-season trade. So nothing's out the realm of possibilities. There's definitely a chance that the Miami Dolphins go out and make a splashy trade for a defensive back. And I think at this point the Dolphins need that. I think at this point the Dolphins need that. You're starting safeties, Minka, Ashton Davis. Ashton Davis, who knows when he's going to be healthy. So Malafanu falls into that other starting safety spot. Hilton's your starting nickelback, which I like that guy a lot. Armstrong's a decent backup for him. So I think we got some decent depth, even though you might not know the guys in the backfield, defensive backfield. It's just the starting caliber players. You know what I mean? I like these guys as far as depth goes. I like our defensive backs as far as depth goes. It's just the amount of starting caliber. We don't have enough starting caliber. We will see how Gay plays against the run. I think he's going to be good. Cat for Life is good. And Cat for Life still rocks with you. He disappears from time to time, but Cat for Life supports everyone. I just wanted to make sure he was good. You know what I mean? I think Miami will wait for cuts and trades. Yeah, I mean, I think they will too. Storm Duck is a starting caliber corner. I mean, I'd say he's probably a low-end starting caliber corner. I don't know if you know what I mean? But I don't like him as our number one corner. You got to remember, there's a difference. Can you be a starting corner? Sure. But can you a number one starting corner where you're responsible for the number one receiver for other teams? That gets me a little nervous, right? That gets me a little nervous. And at this point, I don't want to hear no more about Cam Smith. Cam Smith, it's a wrap for him here in Miami. It's a wrap. The only way that Cam Smith fixes his career is not here in Miami. It's not here in Miami. His best chance of making this team is getting put on IR, to be real. And then eventually being released or traded. IR gives Chris Greer a little bit more opportunity to save face and not have to admit right at this moment that we wasted a second round pick on a player that has done absolutely nothing for this franchise. Another wasted second round pick by Chris Greer. Storm Duck has been overtaken by everybody that's walked through the door. Whereas Sherfield, whether it's Jack Jones, whether it's Hilton, you know what I mean? Everybody that has walked through the door has bypassed Cam Smith. So Pete's take, if you listen and if you watching, brother, send that moolah, send that 100. Send that 100, brother. Glenn says, I'd rather them trade for a good backup tackle. Madden doesn't necessarily mean anything, the game Madden, that is. But again, I played yesterday. And guess who the top two free agents are along the offensive line and at cornerback? Guess who the top free agents available are at corner and offensive line going into this season? Can anybody guess? Can anybody give me the top two players that are available in Madden along the offensive line and cornerback position. No, not X. Not X. Close, though. Close. Storm doesn't fear Tyreek. That's what T said. The top two people available are Isaiah Wynn for the offensive line and Fuller. Yep, Miller, you're absolutely right. Fuller. Those are the two top players available right now. They got Fuller listed as an 84 overall, which Fuller played good for us when he was available. He was hurt, but when he was available, he played good. And they got Isaiah Wynn listed at a 75. The guy can play multiple positions on the offensive line. He can play tackle. He can play guard. Shoot, he can play center. These are easy ads for the Miami Dolphins. Is Fuller still injured, though? Is he still injured? Because I thought the last injury he had was the concussion in Miami, right? Jose, yeah, they're both good players of injury. Isaiah Wynn, we need for maybe 4 or 5 games, hopefully. Hopefully. We don't need him to come in and start. So I'm not concerned if Isaiah Wynn can make it through a 17-game season. I'm concerned with if Isaiah Wynn can make it through a 5-game season. And I feel confident that he can. Not to mention, what's the money going to be on it? Barely anything. They're not going to have to pay Isaiah Wynn a big dollar amount. He's going to be cheap as dirt. Barely any guaranteed money. JD says we don't need them. I mean, JD, you don't think we need any offensive line depth? You don't think we need another starting caliber corner? Jose, I think that's all we need, though. Well, I mean, Glenn, there's other players that, you know what I mean? Why isn't Rasul Douglas signed? Why isn't, you know what I mean? There's players out there that aren't signed. I think a lot of those older veterans, even Rasul Douglas, I think Rasul Douglas, and I don't want him in here in Miami. Again, I do not think Rasul Douglas is the answer. I'd rather go with the young guys. That's just me. I'd rather Rasul Douglas does nothing for me. He does nothing for me. He does not move the needle for me. That's not true, Miller. They're acting like Darren Waller's about to start practicing here soon. Like real soon. The only problem they're having with Darren Waller is, do you want his first practices to be joint practices? You know what I mean? That makes things a little more difficult, a little more strange. Because Darren Waller should be practicing here in the next week or so. But those are all joint practices. And do you want Darren Waller's first practices to be joint? They want to play for a winning organization. Is that why they haven't gone to Buffalo neither? I would give them an incentive-based contract, very minimum guaranteed. Jose, I don't think you'd have to give them their contract would be minimal, brother. I'm telling you. Isaiah Wynn's contract probably won't even count against only your top 52 or 53 players are count against your salary cap. I don't even think his number would count against salary cap. Take a player from the Eagles, D. Like, yeah, I think Isaiah Wynn would be dirt cheap. I think Fuller at this point would be pretty cheap. Maybe, I mean, look look what some of the higher up players got. What was the kid's name from Green Bay that I wanted to sign with the Ravens? Again, sometimes I have these brain farts when I try to think on names on the fly. But look what he got. What he get? $4 million. And Fuller's not in the same category as that dude. What he deserved, he didn't deserve nothing. He was like 65th ranked corner last year. Rasul Douglas was hot trash. Glenn, there's no higher contracts this time of year. None of those guys are getting big numbers. Octane, thank you. Jair Alexander. Yeah, if Jair Alexander's only getting $4 or $5 million a year, Fuller doesn't have a chance to get. He'd be lucky if he got half that. He'd be lucky to get half that. He'd be lucky to get half that. Now, one thing, if you, again, sorry if you guys don't play Madden. I'm bringing Madden up a little bit. The one thing that it sucks about Madden this year is that all those rookie undrafted wide receivers that we brought aboard, they're not in the game. They are not in the game. So Armstrong is not in the game. Weiss is not in the game. All that sucks. Oh, man, I just played week 3 against Buffalo, too, on Thursday Night Football, which we won 20-0. 20-0, baby. Yeah, 20-0. Tua didn't even have a touchdown pass. We just ran the rock. Josh Allen threw an interception. Terrell Dotson, he fumbled another. Zach Sealer caused another fumble that we got back, and we won 20-0. Achane had a touchdown, and Madison had a touchdown. But anyway, the worst news possible happened in that game, though. I almost had to reset the game because I was beating Buffalo 10-0 at halftime, and then the worst injury news ever happened. It said Patrick Paul out of the game, lower back strain. This is a career-ending injury. I said, what? I think they're going to wait to see who shakes loose at cuts. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to see who gets cut. You know what I mean? They're definitely going to see who gets cut. Yes, but if you hold out until people get hurt, you might get a couple extra million. I mean, that's true, Glenn. That's true. Octane says, if we trade for a player, I want Bland from Dallas, but any cuts from Eagles are good players. Yeah, I mean, the Eagles do got a surplus of good players. No, Michael K., I'm not saying that because Dolphins went on Madden that they have a chance. No, I'm not. That game of Madden had absolutely nothing to do with real life. Absolutely nothing to do with real life. Jose said career ending. My game would have been cut off too. I couldn't. It's that lower back strain. This is a career ending injury. I said, what? Lower back strain? You got to be shitting me. Lower back strain, career ending injury. Let's take another look at this depth chart. See anything stands out on the offensive side of the football. So you got Tyreek Hill, Malik Washington behind him. Patrick Paul, you're starting left tackle, left guard, Jonah, center Brewer, right guard Daniels, right tackle Jackson, tight end Waller, fullback Ingold, running back Achane, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, wide receiver Jalen Waddle. His main backup is Westbrook Ikine, Estridge, Easy E behind Malik Washington, Henning, Armstrong. Madison's ahead of Gordon right now. You know, Madison might be playing himself into a roster spot. I thought Madison might be the odd guy out, but I could see a world where all four of these running backs make the team. Because you're not going to put Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon has too much potential to be put on the practice squad where another team could come up and grab him, right? You got Jalen Wright, who, you know, we just used a second round pick on him last year. You don't want to throw him on the practice squad and take a chance that he gets swallowed up. So I can see all four of these players making the team. I think all three of our quarterbacks make the team. That's 7 spots right there out of 53. We're going to have a lot of tough decisions. Grayson Murphy has played good on the defensive side of the ball. Channing Tindall's had a better camp this year. Quentin Bell, Cameron Good, pass rushers that have performed well. Defensive tackles, Zach Sealer, Kenneth Grant, Butler. Dickerson's played well. Zeke Biggers, you don't want to let him go neither because he'll be scooped up on someone's practice squad. You're going to have to keep depth on the at the cornerback position. So there's going to be a lot of tough decisions when it comes to this 53. When it comes to the 53, who are some surprise cuts that you guys see possibly getting cut? The Eagles about to have 3,200 yards on the ground in the regular season. My thing is Easy E is ahead of Taj and Estridge. I listen, Easy E probably won't even see any snaps in the regular season. Look at the wide receiver room. So Tyreek Hill makes the team. Jalen Waddle makes the team. Westbrook Keenan makes the team. Malik Washington makes the team. And I think Estridge is your 5th receiver. I think Estridge is your 5th receiver. He's performed the best in camp out of everybody else. Weiss has had a good camp when it comes as far as his connection with Quinn Ewers. But that's against lower end talent. It's against the 2s and 3s on the defensive side of the ball. That's not necessarily against starters. That's not necessarily against starters. How many receivers do we keep? What's Tyreek's injury right now? Is Tyreek's injury going to cost him regular season time? Has anybody heard any news on Tyreek's injury? If Tyreek's got to miss any extended time, especially with the defense been doing to the offense, do we go add a wide receiver? Keenan Allen, I know Keenan Allen's name was mentioned a few times. I honestly don't think that it would be a bad idea to add Keenan Allen if the price was right. I think it'd be a better situation than the Odell Beckham situation last year. I think Keenan Allen runs crisper routes. I think Keenan Allen has better hands. I think Keenan Allen is a gamer, not a drama queen. Keenan Allen's not a huge receiver, but he's bigger than what receivers we have on this team besides Nick Westbrook, Keenan right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't be against adding Keenan Allen to this wide receiver room, especially if Tyreek's gonna miss any time. Oh, Keenan Allen signed with the Chargers? Oh, man. Well, that's shitty. Expect a few mysterious injuries with some of the young guys before cut down day. They seem to do that every year to stash someone like a stocked position, McMorris, Easy E, Tanner Connor, etc. Yeah, I get that. I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, there's always ways that the NFL and players are manipulating the system. Just like with the salary cap. Keenan Allen back with the Chargers, that's a big deal. That's a big deal for them. Tyreek has, I want out of this. Maybe he wised up and saw we need him more than he need us. Haters going to got to him. I don't think that's the case. I think Tyreek Hill knows that. Like I said the Misfins. Do I think Tyreek wants to be in Miami? I do. But do I think Tyreek, more than one thing can be true at once, right? Do I think Tyreek wants to be in Miami? I do. But do I think Tyreek would rather be in Kansas City? I do. What's up, Irving? Again, if you're over on Game Changers, come over to the Fin Posse podcast. This will be the last day we'll be able to see the Fin Posse podcast on Game Changers. Me and my cousin will be back. We got a new show coming Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays over on Game Changers, probably starting next Monday. But the only way to see the Fin Posse podcast from now on is on this channel. So come over to this channel and show your love, please. I appreciate you. Wesley Gray, what up? What's up, brother? So, yeah, more than one thing can be true. Do I think Tyreek wants to be here? I do. I do think he wants to be here. I think he likes the focus that he has gotten since being here. He had to share the spotlight so much in Kansas City with, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, that it wasn't about Tyreek Hill. This offense is about Tyreek Hill. He is the star of this offense. He likes that. Tyreek Hill, if there's one thing I know about Tyreek Hill that everybody should know about Tyreek Hill, he likes the attention. He likes the spotlight. Tyreek Hill also knows that there's a good chance Miami's not bringing him back on a $50-some million contract next year. Tyreek Hill knows he's going to be a free agent. Tyreek Hill knows he needs a strong season this year to show that he deserves another large contract. Where better to be than the team that you've had your most successful seasons with? Tyreek Hill's two most productive seasons are here with the Miami Dolphins. Vince Penn said he never got closer to 2K than in Miami. He knows where his bread is buttered. Yeah, of course. Of course. And I think Tyreek knows that he needs to do the right thing. He needs to come to he needs to come to the table and play his best and be well behaved so he can make that money. I was just starting to laugh because I was listening to something Pete's Take had said the other day about Tyreek. Tyreek had said he was late to practice, late for stretching because he was dropping kids off at the pool, right? Pete's Take said it's hot in Miami all day. He couldn't drop the kids off at the pool after practice. Oh, man. For all of you that don't know, dropping the kids off at the pool means he was taking a dump. But Pete's Take thought he really was dropping his kids off at the pool. He was like, it's hot in Miami all day. Matter of fact, it doesn't get that hot in Miami till 2. He couldn't have dropped the kids off the pool after 2. Oh my God. Yeah, he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. Pay me my money, Vince. Pete's Take. Pay me my money. Cam Smith, not the starting corner here in Miami. Run that money. Cash App on the bottom of the screen. Let's go. Yeah, but that killed me. He said, why can't he drop the kids off the pool afternoon? That's funny as shit. It's funny as shit. As shit. But yeah, Tyreek knows what he's got to do. He's not faking an injury right now. Listen. Yeah, I mean, if you got poop, you got poop. Tyreek is a big kid with a ring chasing the bag. Of course he is. Of course he is. You know, there's some people that do this for the love of the game. There's some people that do it for the stardom. There's people that do it for the fame. There's people that do it for the money. You know what I mean? All I care about, I don't care why he does it as long as he comes out and he's the dynamic player that we need him to be. Hopefully he has some things that are going to motivate him. The fact that Madden doesn't have him as the most dynamic, fastest player in the game anymore. You got multiple people ahead of Tyreek as far as speed goes in Madden. And Tyreek has noticed because Tyreek mentioned it. Tyreek said something. Tyreek's got a lot to prove this year. We're talking the difference in probably $20 million for him, whether he gets another contract north of $30 million or if he gets a 1-year, $15 million deal. No, it was the other day when he said he was late to practice because he was dropping the kids at the pool. And Finn's Take thought he was really dropping his kids at the swimming pool. In reality, he was taking a dump. But you know, there's still questions that need to be answered. I think today we'll get more of an understanding of where this team maybe stands when they do these joint practices with the Chicago Bears. Sunday we got our first preseason game. We need to go dominate. Our front seven needs to dominate the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears got an all redone offensive line. We need to dominate them. We need to see if our offensive line, if Patrick Paul is dominating or if he's just dominating our players. Can Patrick Paul do that against Chicago Bears? Can we open up some running lanes for Achan? Can we stop their passing attack with the corners that we have? What does Tyreek drop more? Touchdown passes in the end zone or deuces in the toilet? Probably deuces, but he has cost us his fair share of games. He has cost us his fair share of games. Then he post a video running the day he missed. Must have been the 50-yard dash to the outhouse story written by Willie Market, illustrated by Betty Won't. I don't know if that he did post a video that day, but I don't think it was a video recorded the same day. But it was about his Madden rating, his speed rating. Again, Michael K., the Miami Dolphins, they're going to be different this year. Their defensive strategy is going to be different because they got to play to their strengths. They got to play to their strengths. Well, Mudbone, I mean, if Tyreek gets 2,000 yards receiving, it's good for the Miami Dolphins. It's good for the Miami Dolphins. But he stepped back on that statement. He said, I mean, does he necessarily feel about that? I don't know. I don't know how Tyreek really feels because Tyreek isn't very honest. But Tyreek did say, winning's more important than a record. So, I mean, he said the right thing. Day one, what up? That's true. They have to compensate for their weakness, but they got to play to their strengths. It's just, you're saying the same thing. You're saying the same thing, Michael K. You ain't saying nothing different. But yeah, I think we learn a lot about who this football team truly is this week of practice, joint practices. The team will be in Chicago all week. I'm super excited for it. Dolphins football is just a few short days away. In 3-3-5, not really, but sometimes the nickel cornerback plays an overhang, weak side, Will, strong side, Sam, or something. The safety he uses a sub package linebacker. So it can be like Persuado front seven. Here's a question. What should we expect with joint practice with Bears? Are they considered a hood test or what we should expect from our guys? I think the Chicago Bears are going to be improved this year. I think Caleb Williams is a phenomenal talent. I think coaching was horrible last year for the Bears, and I think their offensive line play was awful for the Bears last year. The Bears definitely spent moolah on the offensive line in free agency. I think the Bears will be improved. I'm more concerned with what our football team can do. Can Patrick Paul still be dominant? Can our defense still be dominant? That's what I want to see. Tyreek trolls more than TD. I don't know about that. I'm not sure what time joint practices start because they're on Central Time, right? They're on Central Time, which is what, an hour or 2 hours behind us. They should probably be started, right? TD is the monster troll, the master troll. Yeah, I mean, TD be trolling. TD be trolling. That's my guy, but he be trolling. He be trolling. All right, guys, for all you fantasy players out there, who's a fantasy player in the chat? I know I'm a big fantasy player. I don't like to do too many. Some people be out there and they do a million different leagues. Uh, Me personally, I do maybe one or two. I think it becomes too distracting if you have more than that. Because then one of your teams you need this guy to do good, and then on your other team you need that same guy to do bad. So I definitely am not a fan of having a bunch of teams. And if I do have more than one team, I try to keep kind of the same players, right? Wesley says we got to run the ball. That's the key to everything, Wesley. Running the ball is absolutely the key to everything. Running the football is the single biggest thing on the offensive side of the football. If we cannot run the football consistently, we're going to struggle to throw the football as well. If we can't run, there goes our deep passes. If we can't run, even the intermediate passes are clogged up. It takes away the strength of this football team, which is our speedy receivers. It really affects our speedy receivers. We got to run the football. We got to have them safeties up there trying to help stop the run. So our wide receivers are able to put double moves on the corner and then be wide open in space. We got to run the football successfully this year. It's super, super important. Joint practices start at 11:30 Eastern time. So back to football, fantasy football. Me, I like to do a full point PPR, point per reception. Also, I'm not going to lie. I play fantasy football a little bit differently than some people do. Me, myself, typically the quarterback, I like to make my own leagues because typically a quarterback gets 4 points for a touchdown. I think that's the stupidest rule in all of football. Quarterbacks are the most important position in all of football. Why devaluize the quarterback position in fantasy? And typically, what's an interception? -1. So if I make a league, typically when I would make a league for work or something, I'd put the touchdowns at 6 for quarterbacks also. And then interceptions, baby, we're going -4. We're going -4. Interceptions are crucial. Interceptions are crucial. There's no way that you throw 4 interceptions and you only got -4 points. No way. No way. So, I mean, sometimes I do joint leagues where I go by their rules, but I do like to do my own leagues where I adjust the point system. $100 to join and $2 per transaction for our league. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen someone have to pay for transactions. Tyreek, I'm opening the door for what's best for me and his family. I'm out. And Mudbone, we've all heard a million times. I mean, if you don't want to support Tyreek because of that, I get it. I understand. I'm not gonna crucify a guy for something he said at a very emotional time in his career. What do you think about the rules that I use in fantasy football? What do you think about the scoring system I use in fantasy football? Let's take a look at some of the values, who they have ranked as the top players in fantasy. Top players in fantasy. Now, again, this PPR, I think, yeah, this is PPR. So they got Jamar Chase, number 1. Bijan Robinson, number 2. Justin Jefferson, 3. Saquon Barkley, 4. Jahmyr Gibbs, 5. CeeDee Lamb, 6. 7. Christian McCaffrey. Puka Nacua, 8. Malik Neighbors, 9. Armand St. Brown, 10. Ashton Gentry, 11. Devon Achane, 12. That's kind of surprising. Although he did have 70-some receptions last year, so those running backs can get you rushing yards. Any player that can get you points multiple ways is huge. Shoot. Damn it. All right. Nico Collins, 13. Brian Thomas Jr., 14. A.J. Brown, 15. Drake London, 16. Jonathan Taylor, 17. Josh Jacobs, 18. Derrick Henry, 19. Brock Bowers, 20. Trey McBride, 21. Bucky Irving, 22. Where is Tyreek at 25? Folks, if you let Tyreek slide to the second round, you're getting a steal. You're going to get a steal. You're going to get a steal. There's no way Tyreek might be in the number 1 fantasy player, the 25th. The 25th. That is absolutely mind-blowing to me. Len McConkley, Devontae Adams. They got Josh Allen up there in the. Now, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, all right there, right in a row. Those are the quarterbacks that can give you something on the ground, also give you the rushing touchdowns. Also, Jalen Hurts, the amount of rushing touchdowns that guy gets from the tush push. Listen, he might be the most valuable of all those quarterbacks. Because again, passing touchdowns in typical leagues are only 4 points. Rushing touchdowns are 6 points. Nobody gets you more rushing touchdowns from the quarterback position than Jalen Hurts. And that's why Saquon's not the clear-cut number 1 pick, is because Jalen Hurts gets so many of those goal line targets. He gets so many of those goal line rushes. I can't say I disagree with the Jamar Chase at number 1. He had a huge year last year. He was in the short talks for MVP. Of course, MVP award is a quarterback award. But Jamar Chase was definitely phenomenal. But Tyreek Hill in the 3rd round, that's crazy. Devon Achane at 12. I think that's a little high for Devon. But that's your 2 top Dolphins. While we were acquiring a track team, the Eagles were building trenches. You're absolutely right. And that's why I said if Chris Greer would have been building this team the way he did this year, adding Daniels through free agency, drafting Jonah, Drafting Kenneth Grant, drafting Jordan Phillips, drafting Zeke Biggers. This team would be completely different. This team would be completely different. If we weren't constantly taking a guy that had promise or potential. We wasted far too many first round draft picks on guys with potential, guys that could perhaps be something someday. Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson, when we drafted him in the first round, he wasn't a guy that should have went in the first round. He was coming off a major surgery, and the surgery was to help his sister. She needed some like bone marrow. But when we drafted Austin Jackson, he was undersized and weak, because that's what that does when you give bone marrow. It just drains you. It physically drains you. But not a guy that we should have drafted in the first round. Noah Igbenogany. Noah was such a stretch in the first round. Like, what were we thinking? What were we thinking? There was real life star players available when we took Noah. Noah had no real production in college to warrant a first round draft pick, while Jonathan Taylor was sitting right there. And we were in need of a running back at that time. We take Charles Harris over TJ Watt. Jalen Phillips even. Jalen Phillips hasn't lived up to the potential that high first round draft pick. Jalen Phillips has never had a 10-sack season. Medically retired from college football. And that's who we take in the first round. Now, I'm a big Jalen Phillips fan. I love Jalen. But was he a reach in the first round? Absolutely. Did we draft him strictly out of talent and what he could be someday? Yes. Deion Jordan. All players that shouldn't have been drafted. Tua Tagovailoa, to be honest. He was dealing with an injury that was considered career threatening. Nobody was even positive that he was going to come back and be able to play. Listen, at least Ted Ginn was giving you Noah's still playing, and did he start some games for Washington? Yes, but he's not a good player regardless. He's still not a good player. People get the misconception that Noah is killing it somewhere else. He's not. Noah's not a good football player. Ted Ginn was an elite return guy. Now, was he worth where we took him? No. And I remember that draft, and I so wanted Brady Quinn. And listen, Brady Quinn had a terrible NFL career, but I remember being so mad when we didn't draft Brady Quinn. So mad. Did anybody else want Brady Quinn in that draft, or is it just me? Did Tom Brady ever play behind the bottom third? Probably not. And Mudbone, I like Tua. Don't get me wrong. I like Tua. Some people call me a Tua-anon because I support Tua. But again, that doesn't take away the fact that we drafted him when he could have never ended up playing a game in the NFL. The whole entire world was surprised to see him trot out onto the field in the Jets game. We should have sat for a year. No, nobody else wanted Brady Quinn. I can't believe that, bro. I can't believe nobody else wanted Brady Quinn. That's crazy. Who did y'all want in that draft then? Brady Quinn was a good quarterback coming out of Notre Dame. He went up there and went toe to toe with the mighty USC and almost beat them. Yeah, we needed a quarterback. I thought Brady Quinn was the answer. I thought he was a gutty kid. He was a strong looking, physical looking quarterback. I just don't know who you guys could have possibly wanted. I definitely didn't want Ted Ginn. And Ted Ginn was probably the most dynamic playmaker in college football that prior year. Adrian Peterson. Peterson was already gone, though. JD. I'm talking about a realistic pick. Adrian Peterson was already gone. Right? Let me see. Let me see. Let's take a look, see who was taken. Kelvin Johnson was in that draft. That was the Jamarcus Russell draft. Ugh. Thank God we didn't get him. Oh, let's see. Okay, here we go. Jamarcus Russell went 1. Kelvin Johnson 2. Joe Thomas 3. Gaines Adam 4. Levy Brown 5. LaRon Landry 6. Adrian Peterson was 7. So AP was already gone. Jamal Anderson 8. Ted Ginn Jr. 9. Oh, Patrick Willis was there. Marshawn Lynch, Darrell Revis, Lawrence Timmons was a good player. Oh, Eric Weddle. We took John Beck in the second round. Ugh. John Beck. We took John Beck. John Beck. Oh my God. Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I don't know. Revis was really good. Patrick Willis was a beast at linebacker, though. It's 2007 draft, Irving. Patrick Willis in the middle of that line, that defense. Ooh, 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 ooh. That would have been nasty. But yeah, joint practices today. Hopefully we get some news. Live stream tonight. Open panel. I hope to see all of you there. Let's go about 9:30 if that's cool. 9:30, 10. No, it said John Beck, 2007. I got it. Hold on, I can show you. Yeah, right here. Present, share screen. Share. Right there at the top of your screen, right there, John Beck. John Beck. Yeah, Eric Weddle go. Greg Olson. Joe Stanley. Brady Quinn, 22 to the Browns. Reggie Nelson. Marshawn Lynch, Patrick Willis. Yeah, I mean, I would have loved Adrian Peterson too. Adrian Peterson was a beast coming out of college. He always dealt with an injury. He always had a nagging injury. All right, but yeah, live stream tonight. We'll talk about whatever is on your guys' mind. We'll talk about joint practices, and we'll talk about what the Miami Dolphins should do moving forward, and if things don't pan out in the first half of the season, what the Miami Dolphins should do. Yeah, but Patrick Willis retired early. And I don't know if I got Revis as a top 3 corner of all time, but Mudbone, you're not lying about that stupid Tua running shit. But anyway, I'll see you all later tonight. I appreciate you. Again, if you're over on Game Changers, make sure you tune in to Finn Posse Podcast. Come over to this channel. Like, share, comment, turn on your notifications. Doing an open fan panel tonight. I hope to have a bunch of you there. Again, if you come into the open panel, try to make sure that you don't have a bunch of background noise and stuff, just so people can hear. Try to be respectful and give people an opportunity to talk. Sometimes it helps if you mute when you're not talking. It eliminates some of the background noise. So if you don't got something to say at that moment, mute it so all your background noise ain't coming through. But yeah, I hope to see you guys later. We're gonna chop it up. I appreciate you all. I love you all. I'm about to go play some Madden. I'm about to get it in. Put a hurting on the Buffalo Bills. Go for this AFC East crown. Gonna sack the shit out of Josh Allen and hope it comes into existence. But yeah. All right, I got you, Michael K. But I'll see y'all later. And you know what it is. Fins up, baby. Peace.